getting some rain. Nowhere near as much as our neighbors north of us and things like that, but yeah, we did end up getting some rain.
I was getting used to it being 90 degrees and I'm a little cold at 60. Burr.
Let's see how the straws. I gotta wait until this straw dries down on the top. And it ain't dry, it's still wet.
I'm thinking that the sun's supposed to be out
later on this afternoon. So we'll be working on that project, hopefully this afternoon.
For now, let's go grab the tractor. Let's work on getting that arena finally cleaned up.
You know, it's interesting. The smell of a barn full of hay reminds me of a Danish. I have no idea why, but that's what I get. That's the feel that I have. And that only happens when we bring our bales that are a little older in. You know, the bales that are over a year old. Voila! We now have a new knife for cutting our hay, for cutting our bales. Yep, it was 14 inches. My guess was right. That's kind of a major bummer, man. But that's all right. We can leave it with the hay, and so long as we get into the habit of doing that, it won't be an issue. Boom. What's up, bales of hay? What's up? Well, I think it is safe to say this is much, much, much nicer than it was when we started, but it is not where I want it to be quite yet. I think it's gonna get there in a little bit of time, but we had so much grass growth just in the time of me doing hay that showed up in this arena. It's insane. We did spray the grass to kill it at the roots, and I raked it this initial time, which got a lot of it out, but we do have some extra grass that is still in here that we do still need to take care of. So we are gonna let that die off, and then I'm gonna come back in and use the drag again. That should pull the last of the grass out of it. It's just crazy to me that this arena used to be used so much that I only ever had to drag it because there was that much divots in it from the horses. I never even had to worry about grass growth in here. But now we're more at a point where it's not used enough, and so there's grass growing and I have to drag it to keep the grass out of it. It's like the complete opposite problem. Because you'll look at it and there's no divots in it at all. First world problems, right? All right, we're gonna head down to the lower arena now, and I'm going to gather all of that hay and manure and everything like that, and then we're gonna put one of the wagons in there so that we can kind of keep a better control on this arena, keep it cleaner. It's not really arena, it's more of a pasture right now, and it's been that way for a considerable amount of time. With all that cleanup taken care of, we can now get started on moving some straw. We have baled the last of our straw with round bales, so it's time to get all that stored. We're gonna be storing that outside, which is pretty exciting. Don't have really the need to put it inside the hay barn because it's going to be something that is going to be outside for basically the entire year into next year as they need bedding for their cows. We won't be needing any of that straw as bedding for horses, as I've mentioned.
We don't really need bedding for the horses since they're only in their stalls for about 2 to 3 hours a day. We clean the stalls right after we turn them out. So, just for the cows.
So let's get everything hooked up and set up for it.
That won't get old. I love it. We're gonna start things off. We've got some round bales that are left over from last year. Only about 4 of them. We're gonna grab those and take those over so all the straw is in the same place. Hey, quick question. Have you hit that like button yet? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Just wanted to briefly explain kind of what we're doing here to kind of talk about it. So the plan last year was to take all these straw bales and put them butt to butt, just like they're on this wagon, in a long tube. And if you're not doing anything with your round bales, that's pretty much the best way to store them. The only problem is you could see after a year's time, you can see that they do not look that good. The core is okay. This one's 2 years old. And you can see what's starting to happen right on the bottom of this bale. The bottom, the part that's in contact with the ground, will start to rot. The best way to store these round bales, if you have them in a barn, well, it doesn't really matter. You can store them so long as the bottom isn't in contact with the ground. And you could do what's called a pyramid. So you have a giant tube, and then you basically create a triangle and stack them that way. They're pretty secure stacking them that way. Generally, that's kind of the better way you'd want to stack them if you were transporting them on the road. And in this specific situation, we're going to be putting pallets down, putting these bales down, stacking them in a pyramid formation. And the only reason we're going to do that is because there's supposed to be a tarp that's going to go over top of them. If we weren't tarping them, stacking them in a pyramid formation will actually increase your loss. So long as there's no moisture on them, it will make them better. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. We're just trying to preserve the straw a little bit better than this. Obviously, we could wrap it, but there's no financial means in doing so. That wrap gets pretty expensive. I still have to work those numbers out for you guys. If I remember correctly, it's about $5 per bale to just wrap it. So that adds up when you have 300 round bales for hay. So that's significant savings that we're getting on our end for our horses, but you don't want to do that for straw because you're just baling it and using it for bedding for the cattle. So I'm thinking we're gonna do a 3, 2, 1 stack on the top. I might do a 4, 3, 2. We'll see how it goes. 4, 3, 2. My tractor can stack them 3 high, so that's what we're working on here. Just getting the grounds in. Well, it definitely doesn't stack as good with the bale spear as it would with the bale grapple. Specifically, I'm talking about the top, but that's where we're at right now. Let's go get the rest of the bales that are over on this side of the farm. All right, guys. That's about all the straw. Now we gotta tarp it. Kind of exciting, kind of crazy. By myself, we got this. Got a big tarp. I think it's a big tarp anyway. I actually don't know how big it is. This don't look nearly big enough. Oh boy. Never mind, this tarp's actually pretty huge. I got this. You know, I didn't think that he had a big enough tarp. I stand immensely corrected. He's got a big enough tarp. Man, that thing's huge. Now for our favorite tool, baler twine. It's like the perfect size. I'm kind of genuinely impressed. Well, all right, a bunch of tires and a lot of baler twine later, and we've got this tied down pretty good. These are the really old bales, so I put them out of the tarp because I didn't really think there was a point of putting them in the tarp so that we can use them sooner. And we've got the tires tied down, and I also have the tarp tied to the pallets, which the bales themselves are sitting on. So, yeah, I kind of love it. It's kind of crazy to think that if we didn't have the ability to wrap hay, this is what we would need to do to store all of our hay. We would have to put pallets down, stack the hay like that, and then have giant tarps over top of the whole thing that I would then take the tarps off as we went. Tarps do a pretty good job. The only problem with tarping your hay is tarps can sweat, and so that moisture will get on your bale and then it will rot your bale. That is something that you have to deal with as time goes on. So, you know, it's not a permanent fix, but it'll be way better than leaving them uncovered. So there we go. That is it. And that is going to be a wrap for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, don't forget to hit that like button. Always consider subscribing to stay up to date with future content. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.